Hi, welcome to the inaugural podcast for biteoftheapple.com. My name's Elliot from biteoftheapple.wordpress.com, and today we're going to be talking about iPhone 4.0. Apple's holding an event on Thursday, April 8th to discuss the future of the iPhone OS. I was pretty surprised to see this. Today is Monday. What's the date? Look at me all prepared here. Today's April 5th. Wow. So 3 days, and we'll know the future of the iPhone platform at least for another year. I suspect this will affect the iPad as well. I was kind of surprised to see the iPad ship with 3.2 and not 4.0. I assume now that Apple simply wanted to not use the iPad event to announce both iPhone 4.0 and the iPad. So here we have it. The iPad is out, and iPhone 4.0 is coming, at least to developers, on Thursday. So, what do we know? What do we don't know? First thing we know is Steve Jobs has been talking. He's been sending emails back and forth from his iPhone to just random people who have been asking him questions. He's been quite talkative. One of the questions was, are we going to see a unified inbox in the next version of the iPhone OS? This is a big deal for me because I have multiple email accounts, and I would like, all of these in one box, and I would like my messages all coming from the same box without having to go to 5 or 6 different things. I currently use a BlackBerry and not an iPhone for this exact purpose. Messaging and email, and Apple's got to do a better job at that. Mail on OS X is junk and needs to be, we need a much better program than what they currently have. The iPad almost seems to be a better way of managing email than even on OS X. And I'd like to see something similar like that on the iPhone. Like I said, we're starting with what we know. We know there will be a unified inbox, which is fantastic. Might get me to switch back to the iPhone. We will see some updates to the look and feel of the OS. I suspect we will stay with the springboard, the icons, but I do suspect we will see some of the elements from the iPad. The OS X dock effect that the iPad has, I expect to be coming to the iPhone. A lot of people think that there will be an upgrade in resolution. I suspect 4.0 will come with resolution-independent software for an SDK. They do and they don't need to bump the resolution. If they bump the screen, they need to bump the resolution. I suspect Apple may go to a 3.6 or 3.7 inch screen, maybe small tweak to the back of the hardware. I know Apple really wants to do metal, and they can't because of the radios, but I suspect they may try again and do a radio, metal and rubber, similar to what they do on the iPhone first gen and on the iPad. I would love to see this. The plastic on the back is durable, but it scratches very easily. And I'd like to see a more hardened device. A bigger screen, 3.6 inches is not much bigger than the iPhone now at 3.5, but it would make quite a bit of difference. As on the Mac, I'm using a 13-inch MacBook unibody, and with the dock and the menu bar across the top, you are losing a lot of space. I'm starting to find that in the iPhone OS as well, with the title bar on top and with the controls for the applications being, 60 to 80 pixels tall, you're down to a lot of space lost for your content viewing, Twitter, Facebook, things of that nature. A higher resolution screen would be fantastic because the icons would be smaller, which would be good, and you'd get to be able to see more on the screen. I'm suspecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 960 by 480 would be fantastic on 3.6, 3.7 inches. I don't want them to go tall like they did on the Nexus 1. I would like them to go, wide and out, similar to what BlackBerry does on the Storm, but obviously a little bit bigger screen. What we don't know and what we'd like to see. I'd like to see things like Netflix start to get integrated into this. I'd like to see stuff like the ABC iPlayer, that's BBC iPlayer, I apologize, the ABC Player app get integrated into the iPhone across 3G network. If they're able to do this on the iPad, which uses much more data, I have no reason to think they can't do this on the iPhone. If Apple's going to send 10 million iPads a month, they're going to be rivaling really close to, I don't know the exact numbers for the iPhone, but really close to the iPhone. If 50, 60% of these are 3G, AT&T has no reason to limit the iPhone and not the iPad. Like I said, it's all speculation now. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see some more user interface tweaks. I like the way Apple's user interface looks, but I want to see just more innovation. Just surprise me. Apple's fantastic at going. I didn't see that coming, and I'd like to see more of that. We haven't seen much of that didn't see coming since the iPhone. It's been just basic iteration. It's time for a fresh face without changing the way we do things. They made a big push at the iPad announcement saying, there's 75 million people that already know how to use this OS from the iPhone and iPod Touch users, and I don't want to see them get away from that. It is a fantastic user interface. It's simple, but it's great. I think it's really time we get away from the complete complication that is Windows and OS X and start moving towards the iPad with more features. They need a front-facing camera. They need these kind of things. This could be there could be a front-facing camera on the new iPhone. AT&T's network can't handle it, but other carriers around the world can, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the hardware come out. I'd like to see a MiFi-like service to be able to use a Wi-Fi iPad with an iPhone. I don't think AT&T deserves $60 a month for data on where I'm only using one device at a time. It's completely unnecessary and doesn't need to happen. So that being said, this is going to be a short one. But, this is kind of just a preview for the iPhone event. Do a lot more on after the iPhone event. Maybe even have a guest on. But we'll see how it goes. So let me know. If you guys got any questions, anything you want to know about, my email, you can get me at Palmer Elliott, Palmer Elliott, @AOL.com. Shoot me an email, and I'll answer any questions that I can. All right, appreciate it, guys. Tune back in Saturday, Sunday sometime. I'll have another video up on iPhone 4.